everyone, welcome back to Pabbly. In this video we're going to learn how to associate tasks with HubSpot contacts based on Google Forms submission. So I am an owner of a digital marketing agency and I've created an inquiry form with the help of Google Forms, with the help of which all my clients and customers are going to forward the inquiries that they have. So here what my objective is that as soon as the form submission is going to be done by any of my clients or customers, I want to create that client firstly as a contact in my HubSpot account, and with that I want to associate a task with that contact of the inquiry that the client has raised. And if I'm going to do this manually, it is going to take me a lot of time. So what I did was I simply created an automation with Pabbly Connect, which is an amazing automation and integration software. So here in this automation, what we're going to learn is that as soon as a new form submission is going to be done by any of my clients using Google Forms, automatically first that client is going to be created as a contact in my HubSpot account, and after the contact is created, I want to associate that contact with the task that I'm going to create of the inquiry that is raised by my client in my HubSpot account. And for that we're going to create an automation between Google Forms and HubSpot with the help of Pabbly Connect. So if you want to learn about this amazing automation, then let me take you all to my screen. Welcome to my screen. In this video we're going to learn how to associate tasks with HubSpot contacts based on Google Forms responses. So I am an owner of a digital marketing agency who uses Google Forms to collect questions and requests from my potential clients who are interested in my services. Instead of manually tracking each inquiry and remembering to follow up, this integration does the work for us. Whenever any of the potential clients are going to submit the form using Google Forms, a task is automatically going to be created in my HubSpot for the member of my team to handle. This means that each inquiry is recorded, assigned to the right person and follow up on quickly. It helps our team to stay organized, ensures that potential clients get the attention that they need, and ultimately boost our chances of turning inquiries into our customers. And we're going to be creating this amazing automation with the help of Pabbly Connect. So on the screen you can see the website of Pabbly Connect, that is pabbly.com/connect. After browsing this website, we need to sign in to our Pabbly Connect account. But if you're a new user, you can sign up for free and get 100 free tasks every month. So as I'm an existing user, I'm going to sign in to my Pabbly Connect account. After signing in, you can see the All Pabbly Apps window in front of you, in which you can see the 5 applications of Pabbly, from which we are going to select Pabbly Connect by clicking on Access Now. Then Pabbly Connect's dashboard is going to appear in front of you. In order to start an automation process in Pabbly Connect, we need to create a workflow. For that, click on this top right corner button right over here that says Create Workflow. A dialog box is then going to appear in front of you, which is asking for the workflow name and for us to select a folder. So for the name of my workflow, I am going to give it as Associate Task with HubSpot Contacts based on Google Forms responses. So this is the name that I want to give to my workflow. Next, it is asking for us to select a folder. So on the left side of my screen, you can see I've created multiple folders in my Pabbly Connect account, from which I'm going to select a specific folder in which I want to save this workflow in. For that, click on this field right over here. So these are the folders from which I'm going to select Google Forms Automations as the folder I want to save this workflow in. After giving a name to our workflow and selecting the folder, let's click on Create in order to create a workflow. A workflow is created in the name of Associate Task with HubSpot Contacts based on Google Forms responses, and there are 2 windows in front of you. One over here says Trigger, other says Action. Trigger and Action are the 2 most important steps of our automation process, because our process depends on these 2 concepts. Over here, Trigger says when this happens and Action says do this. That means our action is a response towards our trigger. In an automation process, there can be only one trigger step but multiple action steps. So we are going to set up our trigger step first. And for the trigger application, what we are going to do is we are going to select it as Google Forms. As with the help of Google Forms, I have created a form with the help of which I will be collecting the inquiries from my customers that they have. Okay, so I've selected my trigger application as Google Forms, and for the trigger event, I'm going to select as new response received, as whenever a new response is going to be submitted by any of my customers using Google Forms that I've created, automatically Pabbly Connect is going to capture the response. After selecting the trigger application and the event, you can see that Pabbly Connect has provided us with a webhook URL. With the help help of this unique webhook URL, we are going to connect Google Forms to Pabbly Connect by following the steps given here below in the help desk. I am going to firstly copy this URL from here. After copying the URL, we need to open the form that we have created using Google Forms, and we're going to connect that form to Pabbly Connect. So this is the form that I've created with the help of Google Forms, and I want to connect this form to Pabbly Connect, and this is the inquiry form for my digital marketing agency that I have. Okay, with the help of this form, all the inquiries are going to be raised by my potential clients. So now what we're going to do is we're going to connect this form to Pabbly Connect. For that, click on this responses from this bar right over here. After coming to responses, you can see it is saying link to sheets. We're going to click on it. As we're going to do that, you can see that a dialog box is then going to appear in front of you, which is asking for the destination to save all the responses. So whenever a form submission is going to be done with the help of Google Forms, the form submission is then going to be stored at a place, and we are going to store it in the Google spreadsheet that we are going to create. Okay, you can either create a new spreadsheet or you can select the existing spreadsheet. I want to create a new spreadsheet, so I'm going to select this option and I'm going to click on this create button. As you can see that this is a spreadsheet that has been created, and this spreadsheet is connected to the form that I've created using Google Forms. Okay. So now whenever a new form submission is going to be done with the help of Google Forms, all the responses are going to be stored in the spreadsheet right over here. Okay. So what we are going to do is we are going to connect this spreadsheet to Pabbly Connect, and whenever a response is going to be stored in the spreadsheet, automatically Pabbly Connect is going to capture the response. Okay. So now to connect this spreadsheet to Pabbly Connect, what we have to do is on the top bar right over here, you can see it says extensions. We are going to click on it, and under extensions it says add-ons, and then on get add-ons right over here. A window is then going to appear in front of you, and on the search bar right over here, we have to search for Pabbly Connect Webhooks. We're going to select Pabbly Connect Webhooks. You can see that Pabbly Connect Webhooks is then going to appear in front of you. I'm going to open it. And as you can see that I've already installed Pabbly Connect Webhooks, so I'm going to move forward. But if you have not installed Pabbly Connect Webhooks, please do install it so that you can connect Pabbly Connect with this Google Sheet with the help of Pabbly Connect Webhooks. So please do install it. As I've already installed it, I'm going to refresh this page from here. As I've refreshed the page, I'm going to go back to extensions, and now under options, you can see it says Pabbly Connect Webhooks. We're going to click on it. And from these options, you have to click on this initial setup button. A new window is then going to appear in front of you, which is asking for the webhook URL and the trigger column. So for the webhook URL, I'm going to paste the webhook URL that Pabbly Connect has provided us. And then for the trigger column, it says the trigger column will be your final data column on which if the data is added. So in this spreadsheet over here, you can see this column I is the last column on which the data is going to be added, and this is our trigger column. So what I'm going to do is for the trigger column over here, I'm going to select it as I, and then I'm going to click on this submit button. As I've done that, it says setup configured successfully. So the webhook is now been added to the spreadsheet. The steps that I'm going to tell you right now are very important, so please do not forget to follow them. Click on extensions and Pabbly Connect Webhooks again. Now from these options, you have to click on the send on event button. As over here it is saying working. As the loading is completed, I'm going to go back to extensions and Pabbly Connect Webhooks. You can see a tick mark is in front of send on event. It is very important to click on send on event so that whenever a new response is going to be captured in this spreadsheet right away, the spreadsheet is going to send that response to Pabbly Connect. That is why it is very important to click on send on event. Okay. So now this spreadsheet is connected to Pabbly Connect. As it is done, if I'm going to go back to my workflow, it is saying waiting for webhook response. So now to check whether Google Forms is successfully connected to Pabbly Connect or not, what we are going to do is we are going to do the test submission of the form that we have created, and we're going to check whether Pabbly Connect captures the response to the test submission being done or not. For that, I'm going to open the form that I've created. So this is the form that I've created, and I'm going to now check whether this form is connected to Pabbly Connect or not. For that, click on the send button on the top right corner. From these options, click on the link button. This is the link of the form. I'm going to copy this link from here, and I'm going to open this link in a new tab right over here. So this is the form that I've created. I'm going to click on this next button. So now it is asking for the details of the contact information, the person who is generating the inquiry. We're going to fill in the details. For the first name over here, I'm going to write it as test. For the last name over here, I'm going to write it as dummy6. For the email over here, I'm going to write it as testdummy6@pabblytudes.com. For the phone number over here, I'm going to write in a dummy mobile number. And for the company name over here, I'm going to write it as test company. So I filled in the details, contact information. I'm going to click on this next button. After that, you can see it is asking for the service interest. First question is, which digital marketing service are you interested in? I'm going to select it as social media marketing right over here. Okay. Next, it says, do you have any specific goals or challenges related to the service? So over here for this, I'm going to write it as, I've written it as, I want to generate more leads and enhance the brand awareness. So this is the goal that I'm looking for right over here. Okay. Next, it is asking, would you like to schedule a consultation call? I'm going to select it as yes. Okay. After filling in all the required details, I'm going to click on the submit button. As I've done that, it says your response has been recorded. The form submission has now been done. If I'm going to go back to my Google Sheet, you can see right over here the record of the form submission has been done in this spreadsheet, as you can see right over here. Okay, as the record is created of the form submission in the spreadsheet, I'm going to open my workflow and scroll down, and yes, you can see right over here we have received the response in our workflow as well. Okay, over here we're going to tally the response for the first name being test, last name being dummy6, email as testdummy6@pabblytudes.com, company as test company. Over here for the goal, it says I want to generate more leads and enhance business awareness. The dummy mobile number is right over here. For the service that they're looking for as social media marketing, and for the call over here comes as yes. Okay, so as we have received the response in our workflow, this means that Google Forms is now successfully connected to Pabbly Connect and our trigger setup is done. So now whenever a new form submission is going to be done by any of my clients using Google Forms, automatically Pabbly Connect is going to capture the response of the form submission in this similar manner. After the trigger setup is done, we need to set up our action step, and for the action application over here, I'm going to select it as HubSpot CRM. As now firstly I want to create a contact of this client in my HubSpot CRM, okay, so that afterwards I can associate that contact with the task that I'm creating in my HubSpot CRM. Okay, so firstly we're going to create the contact of that client. For that we are going to select our action application as HubSpot CRM, and for the action event I'm going to select it as create a contact. Okay, after that click on this connect button. A new window is going to appear, on which click on add new connection, or else you can select the existing connection. After that click on connect with HubSpot CRM. As you can see that we successfully authorized HubSpot CRM to Pabbly Connect. After authorizing, it is asking for the street address, age and all the other details. I do not require all these fields, so I'm going to skip the part, but if you require all these fields, then you can fill in the details according to your requirements. Okay, over here it is asking for the email of the contact that we want to create. So for the email of the contact, what we are going to do is we are going to map the data. Mapping means inserting data from the previous step, so we're going to insert the data from the previous step of this workflow. As you can see right over here, the previous step is Google Forms new response received, and if I'm going to scroll back to the field that I was in, you can see as I'm going to click on this field, it says Google Forms new response received. This was the previous step of this workflow, and as I'm going to click on it, this was the same response that was captured in our previous step. As it is asking for the email of the contact that we are creating, in the response we have received the email of the client who have generated the inquiry. So for the email over here, I'm going to select this data from my previous response. As I've selected the data from my previous response, the data is mapped, and as I mapped the data has now become dynamic. That means whenever a new response is going to be captured in our previous step, automatically the new data is going to be updated in place of this mapped data. Similarly, it is asking for the first name. So for the first name over here, I'm going to map the data of the first name of my customer whom I want to create a contact as. I'm going to map the data of that. After that, it is asking for all these details. I do not require the field, so I'm going to skip the part. Okay, if I'm going to scroll down, you can see it is asking for the last name, so I'm going to map the data of the last name right over here. Next, it is asking for the phone number, so I'm going to map the data of the phone number right over here. And next it is asking for the company name, so I'm going to map the data of the company name right over here. Okay, after filling in all the required details, I'm going to click on the save and send test request button. As I've done that, you can see right over here we've received a response, which is a positive response. So now I'm going to open my HubSpot account, and I'm going to check whether a contact in the name of test dummy6 has been created or not. For that, I'm going to open my HubSpot account. To check the contacts, click on the CRM button right over here, click on the contacts button. And you can see a contact in the name of testdummy6 has been created with the email address as testdummy6@pabblytudes.com and a dummy mobile number, as you can see right over here. So as the contact of that client who have generated the inquiry has been created in my HubSpot CRM account, now what I want is I want to associate this contact with the task that I'm going to create in my HubSpot CRM account. So this is the task page of my HubSpot CRM account, and with the contact I want to associate with the task that I'm going to create in this account right over here. For that, we're going to go back to our workflow, and we're going to add another action step in this workflow right over here. And for the action application over here, I'm going to select it as HubSpot CRM again. And for the action event, I'm going to select it as create a task engagement, and then click on this connect button. A new window is then going to appear in front of you, and I'm going to select the existing connection, but if you want, you can add a new connection, then click on the save button. As you can see that HubSpot CRM has now been successfully connected to Pabbly Connect. After connecting, it is asking for the subject of our task that we're going to create in our HubSpot CRM accounts. For the subject over here, I'm going to write it as, so this is the subject of the task that I'm created, new client inquiry. Okay, this is the subject, and over here I want the client's name. So for the client's name, I'm going to map the data of the client's name, first name space the last name. Okay, so this is the subject of the task that I'm creating. Next, it is asking for the task body, the description of the task that we are creating. So for the task body over here, I'm going to write it as, So this is the task body that I want to create. It says a new client has submitted an inquiry through our digital marketing services form. Please review the details below and follow up as needed. Client's information, it is asking for the client's information. Firstly, it is asking for the name. So I'm going to map the data of the name of my client right away. First name space the last name. For the email of my client, I'm going to map the data of the email of my client right over here. Similarly, for the phone number, I'm going to map the data of the phone number of my client right over here. That is right over here. For the company name over here, I'm going to map the data of the company name of my client right over here. Next, it is asking for the inquiry details, service interested in. For the service interested in, I'm going to map the data right over here. And for the goals over here, we're going to map the data of the goals that we have received. That is right over here. It is asking for his client willing to schedule a consultation call. So I'm going to map the data of the answer of that. Next, it says action required, review the inquiry details, schedule a follow-up call or meeting with client, prepare any additional information or purposes based on the client's need. Okay. So this is the task body that I've created right over here that I'm going to create in my HubSpot CRM account. For the status of the task, I'm going to select as not started as the task has just been created. It is asking for the objective type. I do not require the field, so I'm going to skip the part. It is asking for the task reminders. I do not want to create the task reminders right now, so I'm going to skip the part. Priority, I'm going to set it as high. Okay. Is active, I'm going to select it as true. For the timestamp, I do not require the field, so I'm going to skip the part right over here. It is asking for the UID, portal ID. I do not require the field, so I'm going to skip the part. As I want to associate this task with the contact that I've created in HubSpot accounts, for the associate contacts ID, we are going to map the data. For the toggle the map button right over here, click on this field, and as we have the associate contact ID, so over here it says for writing the contact ID in a particular format, we have to write the format of the contact ID that has been received to us in this health test right over here between the two brackets right over here. So I'm going to select the brackets, and between them I'm going to map the data of the contact ID, and as in the previous response we have received the ID of the contact that we have created in a HubSpot account, I'm going to map the data of that ID right over here. Okay. So this is how you associate the contact in your HubSpot account with the task that you are creating. So I've done that. After that, it is asking for the details. It is asking for the assign to. I'm going to select the assignee right over here. And after filling all the required details, I'm going to click on the save and send test request button. As I've done that, we have received a response, which is a positive response. So now I'm going to open a HubSpot account, and I'm going to check whether a new task has been created in my HubSpot account or not. For that, I'm going to open my HubSpot account. I'm going to refresh this task page in my HubSpot account right over here. And as you can see, a new task has been created in my HubSpot account. I'm going to open this task. You can see that over here a new task has been created for test dummy 6. As you can see right over, I'm going to go back to activities right over here. You can see a new task has been created with the task description that we have mentioned in our Pabbly Connect workflow that we have created right over here. Okay. So as you can see, the task has now been successfully created with the help of the Google Form submission that was done in our HubSpot CRM account. So this means that we successfully created an automation between Google Forms and HubSpot with the help of Pabbly Connect. So now to sum up till now what we have done, I am an owner of a digital marketing agency, and I've created an inquiry form with the help of Google Forms, with the help of which all my clients are going to submit their inquiries. So my objective was that as soon as a new form submission is going to be done by any of my clients raising an inquiry, I want to create that inquiry as a task in my HubSpot CRM account. Before that, I want to create that client as a contact first, and then I want to associate that contact with the task that I'm creating in my HubSpot CRM account. And for that, we've created this amazing automation between Google Forms and HubSpot with the help of Pabbly Connect. So this is how you create this amazing automation. So if you like this video, please do subscribe to our channel, hit on the like button, comment down below if you have any questions or doubts, and please share this video. Not just with these applications, you can create automation with the help of Pabbly Connect between multiple applications. If you have any doubts, you can send us email on support@pabbly.com. If you have any queries, you can ask your queries on forum.pabbly.com. If you have any queries regarding the pricing of Pabbly Connect, then you can check out this link. If you like this video, please subscribe to our channel, hit on the like button, comment down below if you have any questions and doubts, and please share this video, and thank you for watching.